So, my dudes, Haiden Deegan crashes. So, believe it or not, I originally wasn't even gonna make this video. I was thinking in my head, you know what? I'm just gonna give Haiden Deegan another chance. I understand he's a rookie. You know, this is the kind of stuff I was telling myself before the Arlington Supercross race. I was like, if he doesn't go out there and have any more crashes, then I'm not going to come in here and make this video, you know. But lo and behold, he goes out there in the Arlington race in the first main event, crashes in the whoops, and ends up getting 15th. Luckily for Deegan, it was a triple crown, so he was able to kind of go in there and do a little bit better in the next two main events and balance out his result. I think he ended up like 8th place overall, but he got 15th place in that first main event with that crash, okay? So I really been wanting to come in here and talk about this, and listen, Haiden Deegan is such a polarizing, popular figure in this shit, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things you're going to have a whole group of people that are not going to look at any of his negatives. They're going to sweep all of his negatives under the rug and only talk about the positives. You know, like some of those people that were saying things like, well, he's third in points, bro. He's third in points, dude. Yeah, after 2 rounds... 2 rounds, he's third in points. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, listen, bro. If you are one of those people that honestly think that Haiden Deegan has a chance of winning the Supercross championship this year in 2023, I want some of what you're smoking, bro. I really do. I need some of that, dog. Oh my gosh. But listen, I'm not trying to take anything away from Deegan. He did have 2 pretty good races in his first 2 main events, okay? Getting 4th place in both of them. He's proved to have some consistency in main events. He's proved to be ready to race in main events. All those kind of things he's proved. But he's also, at the same time, proved to crash a lot. Like, you are foolish if you think that it's not basically a flip of the coin, 50-50 chance that Deegan is either going to crash and have a bad race, or he's not going to crash and have a decent race. That is literally like a 50-50 flip of the coin chance, bro. And it's not me trying to be a hater. It's not me trying to dog on it's not me doing any of that. I'm just stating the obvious. I am pointing out the facts. Now, some of you boys, like I say, you want to sweep under the rug all of the negative things that Deegan has done, and you only want to look at the good results. You know, then you have the whole slew of actual haters that don't want to look at the good results. They only want to look at the negatives, and they want to act like he's, you know, never even going to get a podium or some shit. I try to be a little bit more in between those two different things. I try to look at everything. You know, his good races, his bad races, everything that he's done basically since he came into the pro class, which was actually last year in pro motocross when he raced those 2, pro Lucas Oil Pro motocross races. It seems like a lot of the fanboys try to sweep all that under the rug for good reason, because he didn't do so hot in his very first actual pro race. He went out there and crashed as bad as you possibly can on the bike, trying to hit some little jump at Ironman that nobody else was even attempting to hit. And he just completely flipped over the bike. Literally the worst kind of first pro race you could possibly have. Deegan has already done that. He's already done it. You can't change it. You can't take it away. It is what it is. It happened last year in outdoors. Then we get to his futures race. He crashes out of that. That was kind of our first look at Deegan on a Supercross track, okay? He crashes on that. Regardless if it was just a little slip up or whatever it was, he still did what he did, okay? Listen, I'm not trying to hate, and I'm also not trying to defend. I'm just trying to tell you what happened. You boys get so emotional about this shit. You get so... All I'm telling you is what he's done. That's it. He wrecked out in his first pro motocross race. About as bad as you can possibly wreck the bike. He's lucky he didn't get injured on that crash, okay? Comes out in his futures Supercross race, crashes on the bike in that race, ends up getting 5th, okay? He comes out in his first actual pro Supercross race. He got so close to crashing in them whoops in that main event. Oh my gosh, bros. If you go back and watch his first actual pro main event, there's one lap where he got so far off the side of the bike, I was like, here we go. It's over. He's about to wad his shit up. And luckily, he held on to it, okay? But again, there was a really close call right there, even in his very first pro Supercross race, okay? Then he goes out in his second pro Supercross race at Tampa. He crashes in qualifying. You guys probably remember that. He did this weird thing where he kind of ran off the side of the triple, I think it was, and completely flipped over, head over heels, flipped over. He's lucky he didn't get injured there. Okay, then we get to his third pro Supercross race at Arlington. He goes out there in the first main event, crashes in the whoops, okay, kind of like his feet came off the foot pegs in the whoops a little bit, and then he just kind of turned it over, and then he got really lucky kind of how he came off the bike and landed on the tough blocks. I honestly feel like if they wouldn't have cut those whoops down, they actually made them smaller for the futures amateurs. You guys remember that was a big thing. Even Jet Lawrence talked about that. He thought they shouldn't have done that. A lot of people thought they shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't be changing the pro track for the amateurs. Okay, that's just like an obvious duh kind of thing. But what I'm trying to say here, though, is if they wouldn't have cut those down, Deegan would have crashed a lot harder in those whoops in that first main event. There's no question about it. It would have been a lot worse. Okay? So, if you can't tell from the track record and the history here, yeah, Deegan's got some decent results. He's been able to hold it together in a couple of main events, but at the exact same time, he's also had a lot of crashes. He's also had a lot of mistakes. We can't just only look at the positives and not look at any of the negatives over here. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be at least talked about at this point. You know, people want to act like he didn't even do anything last year. They don't even want to look at any of that. You know, a lot of people, when I talked about his future Supercross race for the first time, they wanted to act like, well, that's just one little slip up, bro. Let's just totally forget about him absolutely, wadding his shit up in outdoors last year in his actual first pro race. Let's just forget about all that. I'm not gonna forget about it, okay? I can see where some of you guys will bring up the argument of, well, look at Tomac. He crashed in the main event. Look at Sexton. He's been crashing in, all the main events. I can see where some of you might bring up that argument, but I don't really think it's, I think you're kind of comparing apples to oranges there, because it's a lot different when you crash trying to win a 450 main event than it is when you're crashing back in, 10th place in a 250 main event. That's like a totally different animal. Even Jet Lawrence, see, he crashed in his first year of Supercross, but he was battling for the win. That's a different level. Deegan hasn't even really been to the point yet where he's been able to even really battle for a podium yet, and he's been crashing like he has. You see what I'm saying? It's a little bit more acceptable when you're crashing as a rookie when you're about to win the main event. That's kind of a different level. But when you're crashing in qualifying or you're crashing back there in 10th place, it's kind of a different comparison. So I don't know what we're going to see out of Deegan. I mean, he could go out there and get a podium in Daytona. He could crash completely out and get injured for the rest of the season. I mean, it really is like anything can happen with Deegan at this point. He's proved to crash a lot. He's proved to have some decent results and be able to, hold it together in a main event. And I was really impressed with Deegan in those first two main events, in his first two pro Supercross main events, where everybody would crash around him, but he would still be holding on to the bike, and he would, just slowly work himself up and pass all those guys that have crashed and get some good results. But we're just seeing, I feel like we're just starting to see a little bit too much of that crashing out of Deegan, and it's weird when people get this mindset of like, well, they're a rookie. It's okay for them to be crashing, Spencer. They're just trying to go fast. They're just crashing, trying to learn. Bruh. How many times do I have to go over this crashing thing, dog? Like, it's not good to crash regardless. I don't care if you're a rookie, if you've been in there for 10 years, I don't care what it is. It's not good to crash, period. Because every single time you crash off of that bike, there's a chance of injury for being out of the rest of the season, and then you lose time learning. See, if you crash so hard that you injure yourself, then you're going to lose time learning. So is it better to go fast, to learn how to go fast, to crash, and then get injured? Or is it better to go a little bit slower and pull it back a little bit to race every single one of the races in the Supercross season, to learn that way? I think that's the better way than to, oh, well, he's just a rookie. He's just going fast, trying to learn. He's going to have some crashes. Well, we've seen what's happened to Forkner, Cianciarulo. I mean, there is just countless names. Don't make me have to go through here and name all these names. I just don't want to see Deegan fall into that shit. You know what I mean? I don't want him to be too worried about his results or his speed. None of that shit matters right now. It's just make every single main event. That's all Deegan should be worried about. Even if he's getting 10ths or 5ths or 7ths or whatever the hell he's getting, just make it to the main events and finish all of the main events this year. You're going to learn a lot more by doing that than you are trying to go fast to, please everybody that's got you way overhyped. You're going to be a lot better by just making it to the races than you are trying to go too fast and then crashing. You see what I'm saying? But that's just my opinion on it, man. Either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. I'll see you boys on that next one later, dudes.